In my last video, I gave a brief overview about the history of the Earth, and I specifically put in the title Brief Overview because I didn't want anybody to think that I was stating all the facts or historical documents and things I've discovered or information that I've been privileged to, right? I didn't give every single ounce of every single detail that I have come across. It was just a brief general overview of how things have transpired on this planet. And that's, it goes back. This planet's old, right? It's billions of years old. So the Earth has a history, right? Let's just say that. And it's not as clear cut as the mainstream media would have you believe. So just think about that for a second. They want you to believe that there were dinosaurs, cavemen, and we evolved from monkeys and all this other nonsense, right? Like this is just a bunch of garbage. Let's just be real about it. And that's just not the case. Anybody with a brain that's done enough research, and when I say with a brain, what I mean is you don't just believe what you're told in school. You don't just believe what you're told in the news. You don't just believe what social media or mainstream media tells you, right? Or mainstream science. Because a lot of these institutions are controlled by evil forces, by the evil ones that control the world. And they're only going to feed you what they want to feed you, what they want you to know. The real truth is hidden from the general public. So if you want the real truth, you got to go outside of those sources. And you got to really open your mind and look at everything. So without further ado, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing for the universe here in terms of what I did in my last video about a brief overview, right? I'm going to give a brief overview of the universe and the history of the universe. And again, disclaimer, this isn't everything, all right? I'm sure there are people that might know more than me or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Everybody has their own knowledge base, right? This is just basically an end result general overview of all the sources that I've come across throughout my life. And I've studied Pleiadians, I've studied reptilians, I've studied Arcturians, I've studied Andromedans, I've studied Greys, I've studied all these different races, right? And read about them, did my research on them. So I've taken all of that and I'm telling you what makes the most sense to me, right? That's what I'm doing. And in the future, as time goes by, what I'm going to do is reveal my sources in terms of where I got my information. So you guys aren't just like, well, he's just saying this stuff. Where did he get it from, right? And then, just like anything else in this world, you decide for yourself if you want to believe it or not, right? I can't make you believe anything. Kim Gogan can't make you believe anything. Nobody in this whole world, nobody in this whole universe can make you believe anything. That's the truth, unless they brainwash you and mind control you. You ultimately, if you have your free will, which a lot of people don't, sadly, but if you do have your free will and you're a free thinker, you decide what is true for you and you believe what you want to believe. I'm just going to tell you what I believe, right? I'm going to share with you I don't want to say my truth because I hate when people say that, but what makes the most sense to me? Let me say that, right? Out of everything I come across. So let's get started. In case you guys don't know how universes are created, the mainstream version of things, you know how they say the Big Bang is how everything started, blah, blah, blah. That seems to be pretty accurate. But there's one thing missing from the mainstream science that they don't tell you. And that's that every universe that is created, even though there is an explosion and a Big Bang and all of that, it was caused. It's not an accident. And that's where I differ from mainstream, right? It's not something that happened by mistake. There's always a grand plan and a grand design for each universe. Notice I said each universe because we're one of infinite universes, believe it or not. There are infinite universes and there are infinite omni-universes. I don't know what the right terminology is, but things that are greater than universes that contain universes in them. And it keeps going that way. From my understanding, it's infinite. You keep going up. Like, there's no stop to this. No race that I've ever come across has ever been able, from all the advanced races that I've studied, no race has been able to find the end point of how far the rabbit, I don't want to say how deep the rabbit hole goes because, well, maybe you could say it that way, right? But how far you can go in terms of up, in terms of how high and how big things get. So again, the universe was created within a universe that contains universes, if you can imagine that, all right? And when it was created, it was designed with a plan. Each universe that is created, they have a different game that is played. There are different rules. And believe it or not, whether you want to, this is why I play video games. And that's why I'm a gamer. Because each universe is a game. There are rules to each game. What rules apply to each game is decided by the creators of that universe. So whoever created that universe, and we would call that entity God, right? Or most people would see that as God. Even though how humans understand God is supposed to be all-knowing, omnipotent, the highest of the high, right? You can't get further than God. But unfortunately, that's not true from what I've researched. You can go beyond that and you keep going. So this God-like entity, well, it would definitely be God-like to humans, right? They create the universe and they decide what rules they want that universe to have. So our universe was created with the rules of good and evil. It's a polarity game. That's our universe. Our universe is a polarity game. It's good versus evil. That's what the whole thing is about. That's why everything is so polarized. That's why everything's so this and that. Female, male, yin, yang, good, bad, hot, cold, blah, blah. It goes on and on and on, right? That's the game that's being played, okay? And no matter where you are in this universe, no matter where you go, these rules apply to you. It is what it is. So you don't have to believe in good or evil, but you are either good or evil based on the creator of the universe and whoever created all of this. All right. And honestly, I don't know who did. Somebody did. Let's just say that. But we would call that being God, right? But long story short, that person, that entity, that spirit, that soul, whatever you want to call it, created this universe with those rules, with that rule set. That's the game they wanted to play here. Now, in the beginning, when they created everything, well, they created the universe. They had other volunteers from other universes or other creations come to this universe and play the game. So they had an even number of extremely powerful, highly evolved entities that wanted to play this game. And from my understanding, it was, I want to say, what was it? 23 good and 23 bad? Or 23 good and 23 evil? Something like that. 23 positive, 23 negative. It was an even number on both sides, okay? That's all I'm trying to say. And the game is, which side will prevail in the end, in terms of the end of the universe, right? Because the universe has an expiration date, believe it or not. I believe we're in the 100 and something trillionth year of this universe's existence, something like that. I don't remember the number. It's been a while since I've actually looked at it. But if you guys really want that number, I'll go find it. I know exactly where to find it too. But we are in the 100 and something trillionth year of 314 trillion year cycle, something like that. So that's how old the universe is, okay? Our universe. And these two sides are constantly in eternal conflict, as you can look all around you, to see who's going to win, right? And on our level, on the earthly 3D level, it's a very small sample of what's really going on. And as you go higher in evolution, in spiritual evolution, you really get to see the nitty gritty in terms of how deep it goes, how crazy the battles are, how powerful, how expansive these battles are for good versus evil. It's basically for your soul. What side are you going to be on? What are you going to do? And your actions, your thoughts, your feelings, they all dictate what side you're on. So even if you think you're neutral, you're not on a side. Unfortunately, you are. Whether you believe it or not, you choose a side pretty much all the time. When you take an action, you have a thought, you have a feeling, you choose a side right there. Whatever you choose and how you feel and how you think, that decides what side you're on. And there are inherent good and evil traits. So whether you're aware of it or not doesn't change your nature in terms of what you're doing, especially if you become aware, right? If somebody tells you this is good and this is bad, and they know what they're talking about, and you don't agree, and you still want to go against them, or you want to, if you choose to be ignorant, it doesn't excuse your actions. Is what I'm trying to say, right? So if someone's trying to educate you on good versus evil, or good versus bad, or whatever, it's not going to change. Just because you don't want to believe it or you don't want to listen to it, it's not going to change your actions. Your actions have energy behind them. And depending on your intent and what you decided to do with that action, it's going to decide whether you're a good person or a bad person. It is what it is. And that goes on until the end of the universe. Your soul, when you die, when your body dies, your soul doesn't die. You're immortal. You live forever. So guess what happens? Whatever actions you took while you were alive, they go with you. And they're stuck to your soul. They're with your soul. They're part of your energy. So you carry that polarity with you until you come back and reincarnate into another life, another planet, whatever. And then you redo whatever life, whether it's you're doing the same thing again or you're doing a new life, and then you make different choices. Unfortunately, on Earth, most humans are unaware that this is happening, and they don't know. They're unaware of the past lives that they've had. So they don't know what they've done before. They don't know what they're going to do in the future, blah, blah, blah. Like, humans have been purposely blinded, soul blinded. Their souls have been blinded from the truth. And it basically causes these bodies not to be able to access the information and knowledge that your soul has acquired. So therefore, you don't know whether you've been a good person or a bad person or anything. You just know what's going on this planet at this time, right? That's all you know, this life. Unless you have somebody hypnotize you and regress you, and then you're able to access that information that your soul has within it, because your soul records everything. But because of these bodies, your soul is being blocked from transferring that knowledge down to your physical. And it is what it is. We have DNA locks on these bodies. We're not allowed to access all of our information. If we were to be able to do that, and the DNA locks were lifted or broken, we would be able to see what we really are, who we really are, what we've done, blah, 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 right? The whole nine. But right now, that's not possible because humans haven't been able to do anything to break it. We're being suppressed by the evil ones that control this world. That's what's happening. They've put these locks on our DNA, so we can't know the truth. But there are people like me and others who are trying to wake you guys up to tell you the truth so you can wake up and see what's going on and maybe change that, right? Maybe fight against them in some way, shape, or form and free yourself so you can know what the truth is of who you are and what's really going on, not just in this world, but in the entire universe, right? And again, your soul is universal. It's not earthbound. It's not supposed to be. It is right now because there are death traps around the planet where when you die, your soul gets bounced off these death traps and you get put in another body and you forget everything that happened in the last life and so on and so forth. The cycle keeps repeating because we haven't been able to break these death traps, because we haven't been able to break free from the control of the evil ones that control the world. We haven't been able to fight back against them or do anything to stop it. So unfortunately, we're stuck like this until we do that. That's why I am so adamant and so forceful with my words, because I know what's going on. And being a pacifist and a pussy and a soft person and a nice guy isn't going to win this fight. We're never going to get anywhere like that. Oh, you got to say things the right way. You got to be nice. You got to be polite. You can't curse. You can't. Fuck all that shit. We have a real situation on this planet. We need to do something about it. If you want to be free of all the hell and torture and all the wars, the needless wars, the suffering, the hunger, that you have to work or you die. You have to be a slave or you die. If you want to break free of all this bullshit that humans are being put through, you got to wake the fuck up and stop being a pacifist and fight back. And it doesn't have to be violent. You don't have to get violent. You can just resist. That's a form of fighting back. Resistance is fighting back. But people are too fucking comfortable with the bullshit that's going on this planet. And they're okay with the craziness. They're just like, whatever. Who cares? As long as I'm paying my bills and living my life, taking care of my family, I don't give a fuck about anything. It doesn't matter what's going on. You know how many fucking people I talk to like that are like that? It's fucking insane. It drives me crazy. Because I'm like, how the fuck are there so many people like this? Am I like I really feel like I'm on an island by myself. And I'm the only motherfucker that wants to do anything about it. I'm like, I want to get off this fucking island. But everybody else is comfortable here on this deserted island with nothing. You guys are fine with this shit. I'm not. I'm not cool with it. That's one of the curses that I have, right? Is knowing the truth, seeing through the bullshit. It ends up being a bad thing in a way. I mean, I'm glad I know what I know, but because I see so much, it isolates me from the world because everyone else is content with this shit and I'm not. So I'm looked at like I'm crazy or I'm the bad guy. And guess what? I don't give a fuck. You guys can look at me however the fuck you want to look at me. I'm still going to say what I'm going to say and do what I'm going to do. And you know why? Because I don't want to be part of this shit anymore. I want to break this cycle. I want to break out of this fucking prison and I want to fix the world. And I want things to be the way they're supposed to be. And again, you choose. You choose the polarity that you want to be. You want to be good? Do something about this shit. You want to be evil? Let it happen. Don't do anything. Just sit there, be complacent, and get fucked. But unfortunately, because I'm here with you guys, I'm getting fucked too. I'm getting fucked with you because you guys ain't doing shit. And I'm trying to tell you guys, hey, we got to do something about this. And you guys are like, blah. Do something, man. Like, at least change the way you think. At least change the way you view the world. At least want something different. It starts with a desire, right? And guess what? The universe was created with a thought, with a desire from a god or whatever you want to call this entity. They wanted to do something. They had an idea and they created the universe. That's how powerful thoughts are. We're all capable of this. Just because we're here now in this 3D realm doesn't mean we can't create universes. We can get to that same level, but we can't do it the way we're going right now. We're always going to be at this level if we don't change things. So if you want to be able to create universes, you got to change the way you think first. And you got to want something more than what you have. You can't just want this mediocre human life and say, this is good. This is good enough for me. I'm glad being a little human slave to the fucking evil ones that control the world. I'm good with that. That's fine. I'm content. I have my family. I have my job. I have my money. I have my bills. I have my... Stop. That's not the way humans are supposed to live. We're not supposed to live like this. This is not human. This is evil. This is demonic. This whole planet is fucking demonic. It's been constructed and structured to be evil and detrimental to humans. But humans have been duped. They've been fooled into believing that this is the way things are supposed to be. But anyways, let me get back to the history, right? So the history. Once that was decided, then these entities came from outside of the universe into the universe. The two sides that I told you about, the good and the evil side. And they started to create life on different planets, on different parts of the universe. They created, the good side created humans or human-like races. The bad side created draconian type races. That's how it was done. Now, is that 100% one way or the other? No, not all the humans are good and not all the draconians are bad. There are good and bad on both sides. But the majority of humans are good, or supposed to be, even though they're being converted left and right to be evil. because they're pacifists. And the Draconians, they don't like some of the injustices. Some of the Draconians, not all of them, but some of them, they're like, we don't like how fucked up our side is. We want to help the good guys. Guess who's one of the Draconians? Me. That's the truth. I'm one of the guys that came from the bad side. And I was like, I need to help the good guys because the good guys are getting fucked and you guys can't do shit. You can't do shit without help. You need help. Get offended if you want to, but it's the truth. If you're left on your own, the evil will overrun you. So they have to send someone like me who comes from that side to help the good side because the good side can't do shit on their own. You guys can't. It is what it is. But whatever. So my mission is different now. Maybe in prior lives I was evil, doing evil shit. Now, and I'm still not a good person. I don't consider myself good. I don't give a fuck. You guys can think I'm good or not. I don't care. I don't consider myself a good person. But I'm trying to at least free humanity and help you guys so you guys have a fighting chance. That's what I'm here for. That's my only purpose on this planet. I don't have any other fucking reason to be here. What the fuck am I doing here with you guys? I'm not here to hang out and make friends. I'm here to wake you motherfuckers up. That's what I'm here for. That's it. I have no other purpose. Nothing else. But whatever. You guys can listen to me or not. It's up to you. But it doesn't matter if you listen to me or not. You can open your fucking eyes and see that what I'm saying is the truth. Just look around you. Just look at the world. Look at the universe. Whatever you think you know about it. Do some research. Figure things out. And you'll see that what I'm saying is the truth. It is what it is. That's why I always say it is what it is. Because that's what it is. But anyways. So that's a general overview, right? These races created these different races. The human races were supposed to be the good guys. The Draconian races were supposed to be the bad guys. And they started to create on different planets. They started to spread out. You know, they evolved technologically. Not on their own either. None of these races just evolved and figured things out on their own. They were basically helped by their creators, given divine knowledge or intervention, to evolve themselves so that they can progress their race to a point where they can travel in space and colonize different planets. They would go around, find habitable planets for their race and settle there. And just so you know, the Draconian races are very different than the human races. Why am I saying that? Because the way the planets are colonized and structured, and the environment of the planets are made to suit those races. So the Earth, right, as the Earth currently stands, it's not really suited for the Draconian races to settle openly here. They can't really survive because of the way our atmosphere is. They can't without some kind of mechanisms or technology. So they're trying to basically change our environment to suit them, but they're doing it in different ways, right? They're doing little things here and there to try to change our environment. But it will be toxic for us, but it will be suitable for them because their DNA, their structure, their physicality is different than ours. What they breathe, how their body is made, you know, how many hearts they have. They're just anatomically different than humans, period. Most human races are pretty much the same. And when I say that, you know, there are blue skin human races, red skin human races, all the colors, black, white, blah, 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 all the colors, right? And there are human races that have 6 fingers on each hand, 6 toes. Some have tails. You know, it is what it is. It just depends on where they're from, where they settled, and how they evolved. For the most part, from my understanding, is most human races don't just evolve on their own. They're usually tampered with DNA-wise. Their DNA is altered so that they can become something different. Our human race, from my understanding, at least the human races that are here, and each race came from a different planet or a different star system. And I'll tell you guys briefly where they came from. The Africans came from Sirius. The Asians came from Alpha Centauri, I want to say. I'll have to look that up again. And the Nordics, or the whites, they came from from Lyra. So, or the Pleiades. Both places, basically. Lyra is actually where the first human race was created. But anyways, these races, they all came from different star systems. And the reason why they have different skin colors and different physical anatomy or whatever is because the stars where they settled altered their DNA through radiation. So the star, the main star, wherever they settled, changed their DNA. I don't know how you guys are going to take this, but everyone started off as Lyrans, and Lyrans were white. White, blonde hair, blue eyes, okay? When the Lyrans left Lyra and started settling in different star systems, they found that when they settled in those star systems, even though those planets were habitable, meaning they can live there, they didn't know the long-term effects in terms of how the stars were going to alter their DNA and basically make them into a new race. They were still human, but they were they had DNA changes. They had different skin color, and their eyes became slanted, and blah blah blah, depending on where they settled, right? And depending on how that star affected their DNA through radiation. And I know all this stuff is confusing, but like I said, I'm going to reveal my sources as time goes by. This is all just a brief overview. So if you get confused, just go back and listen to it again. Long story short, where you settle will change your DNA in terms of the solar system, wherever you settle. If you find a habitable planet and you go there, and the star is not like our sun is pretty neutral, meaning it doesn't really change you one way or the other. But if you go to another star, like Sirius, and you come from here, and you stay there long enough, I mean, you have to stay there for a long time, but your DNA will eventually change. If the race keeps propagating, right, and birthing new children, those over time, their DNA will be affected and they will become black. That's what's going to happen. It is what it is. That's the way it works. That's why there's different races. That's why not everybody looks the same. That's why, and no school is going to tell you what I'm telling you. Because this shit, they don't want you to know the truth. They want everybody to think that we came from fucking monkeys. So think about what I'm saying, and then think about what they teach you in school. What makes more fucking sense? We all came from apes. By the way, Darwin falsified a bunch of bones to make it look like humans came from apes. So he mixed human bones with ape bones or chimp bones or monkey bones, whatever you want to call it. And then he tried to make it look like we all came from apes. So the motherfucker was a deceiver. So if you believe that shit, whatever. Believe what you want, okay? But we didn't all come from monkeys. That's all I'm trying to say. And not every race came from Africa. Not everybody we didn't all come from the same egg, for lack of a better way of saying it. We didn't all, unless you go back to Lyra, right? If you go back to Lyra, then you can kind of see that that's where all humans came from. That's where the original human race manifested. But anyways, I want to wrap this up because I cut the video short by accident, and I'm basically just adding this part towards the end. If you have any questions about anything I said, please ask me, right? If you don't have to believe anything I said. You can do your own research, right? Compare all the things I've told you here to the things that you've heard in school, and then put it together and make sense of it yourself, right? You don't have to wait for somebody to always give you all the answers. The way I've understood the universe to work is if you really want to know the truth, you will get your answers. But you got to put in the work and the intent and the effort to get where you want to go. And if you can't find answers on your own, I'll do my best to give you what I have, okay? That's all I can do. So I hope you guys learned something from this. I hope you got something out of this. I do want to apologize because the video got cut a little short, so I'm adding this part towards the end. And it is what it is. If you like, comment, subscribe, share where you can. Hit the notification bell. See you guys in the next video. Take care.